Hi, we're going to go over the multiplication portion of the number sense test for elementary for questions 1 through 10. And in these multiplication questions, we're going to go through the different variations that could potentially be on there for UIL and TMSCA. So let's jump into it. So the first one is times table. So there's only 4 questions, but there's all these different times tables that I want you to have memorized, like 1 through 12. That way it can be so easy for you guys to answer it really quickly and have these as time savers. So for instance, 9 times 7, that's 63. 7 times 12 is 84. 4 times 8 is 32, and 9 times 6 is 54. So knowing these is going to help you so much. It's going to save you a ton of time. Now, another variation is having a single digit times a double digit. So what's never going to be the case is the number sense test is never going to have it in a vertical formation here. They're always going to do it horizontal. So what you need to do is you multiply the 4 times the 1's digit first, which is 24, and then you're going to carry the 2. So 4 times 6 plus 2 is 26. So 264 is your answer right here. Now, remember, you're not going to be able to write these little notes here and there. I'm just doing it for sake of knowing how to, think through it and within your head, because then it'll count it wrong if you have any scratch work. So 6 times 1 is 6, and then 6 times 8 is 48. So 486. 7 times this 1's digit is 21, carry the 2. 7 times 3 plus 2 is 23, so 231. Okay, now over here, this is a different variation. So you're either going to have a single digit times a double digit, which the double digit's going to end in 0, or double digit times another digit, that double digit that ends in 0 as well. So for example here, what we can visualize this as is 9 times 10 times 5. Well, if I do these here, 9 times 5 is 45, and since that's a 10, that's just like tacking on a 0 there. So you can rewrite these, or maybe just even write, like for this example, just write that 0 down first, okay? And now it just really becomes 3 times 41. Well, 3 times 1 is 3, and then 3 times 4 is 12, so 1,230. Again, here we can just multiply, these two numbers here by just putting on the 0, and then 3 times 6 is 18. Carry the 1. 3 times 3 plus 1 is 10, so your answer is 1,080, okay? Another variation that you can get is a single digit multiplied, four single digits multiplied. And here what I recommend is making 10 or a multiple of 10 your best friend. Okay? And the reason I say that is because, look, instead of saying 5 times 4 times 3 times 2, I can say 10 times 4 times 3. So much easier to look at, right? So if I have the 10 there, I'll just write the 0, and then 4 times 3 is 12, so it's 120. Okay, same thing here, except we don't have the 10 here, but we do have a multiple of 10. So there's different multiples of 10. We can either do 5 times 4 or 5 times 6. But in this case, I'll just do 5 times 4, which is really 20 times 6 times 7. That's a times, I'm sorry about that. So times 7, okay? So 6 times 7 is 42. Double 42 is 84. And then now I just put the 0 in there. And the reason I say this is 42 times double is because I have the 2 here, right? So double this is 84, and then we tack on the 0 that's right here, right? Another one here, we have this 20 times 9 times 3. Well, 9 times 3 is 27. Double 27 is 54. And then we tack on the 0 from the 20 itself. Okay, so this one, it's multiple of 10 is your best friend, or 10 itself is your best friend to answer these questions. That one we have to do it from left to right or right to left. You try to regroup it, okay? This one over here, now we start getting into the multiplication trick. There's really 2 that I've seen in the UIL and the TMSCA. One of them is the 5's trick, and I really only seen when the last digit is 5. Now, what these mean is it's a double digit times 5. So this is the example in which you have the 10's digit and the 1's digit are even. So if that's the case, this is probably, I would say, the easiest way of doing it. So if this is the case, the 5's trick, the way it goes is you get the 22 and cut it in half times 5. Oops, sorry, not times 5. You get the number, cut it in half, and then put a 0 at the end. So half of 22 is 11, and then you put a 0, so your answer is 110. So same thing here, cut 64 in half. That's a 32, and since it's even, we put a 0 at the end. Now, if you want some more examples, you can head out to the video that I have in my other playlist, which is multiplications trick. But it kind of goes into depth a little bit more why this works, okay? Now, over here, we have an even, and we have the tens digit as an odd, just like this one. So still, we do the same thing. Since this is even, we're going to tack on a 0, and then we're going to get half of 54, which is 27. So your answer is 270. Same thing. Since this is even, we put a 0. Half of 34 is 17, so my answer is 170. Okay? Now, here's where it starts getting not too funky. I mean, what you need to remember is that since this is odd, instead of putting 0, we're going to put a 5. And then when you go 1 down, well, 1 down is 22. And what's half of 22? That's 11. So your answer is 115. Okay? This one over here, same thing. Since that is odd, we're going to put a 5. Go 1 down, which is 64. Half of 64 is 32. So your answer is 325. Okay? This one, I meant to put odd. Let's just change this to a 93. I just didn't realize until then. But since this is odd, again, we're going to put a 5 at the end and then get half of 92. Well, half of 92 is going to be 46. So your answer is 465. Okay? And then over here, so again, since it's an odd number, we're going to put a 5. And then half of 56, well, that's 28. So your answer is 285. It's very rare, 1 through 10, that these two will pop up. These are the ones that mainly will pop up in 1 through 10. But just so that you know the multiplication trick, whenever it's an odd, here it is, okay? The next one that I've seen pop up mainly in the UIL 1 through 10, instead of the TMSCA, there's 2 of them, right? This is the one that I've seen it pop up most frequently, which is the 11's trick, okay? Now, here's how the 11's trick goes. Again, if you want more examples of the 11's trick or more in depth, please go to my playlist that talks about multiplication. So whenever you have this here, you're going to rewrite the 1's digit. So it's going to be 3. And then you're going to add 3 plus 3. The 1's digit plus the 10's digit is 6. And then you write the 10's digit, which is 3. So your answer is 363, okay? This one here, since you're multiplying times 11, you write the 1's digit first, which is 3. Then add 1 plus 3, which is 4. And then you write down the tens place. So your answer is 143, okay? The last one here is what happens if it adds up more than 10, so like 10 or more. So in this case, we were going to write down the 5 first. But look, when we add 5 plus 5, that's 10. But when we have to carry the 1 over here, so 5 plus 1 is 6. So your answer is 605. Okay? The last one over here, again, we're going to write down the 9. Add 3 plus 9, which is 12. And then carry the 1, which is 4. So your answer is 429.